What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you can do every single one of these tips in this video from today, I can guarantee you that you'll be a really great player at the game. There's no other tutorial like this on YouTube other than the one that I posted a year ago, which is a bit out of date at this point, so there's nothing out there like this. This is the most advanced trick tip tutorial in Skater XL. So we're going to start off today with the absolute basic components of each trick and kind of mold it to make it more advanced, and then by the end of this video, we'll be doing some pretty crazy stuff. You may notice that my game looks a little bit different than yours, and that does not matter at all. All the trick tips can be applied to all platforms, even on vanilla with no mods at all. It just makes this video look a little bit nicer for you guys to watch, and that's about it. So let's get to it. Everybody on all platforms, they have this overlay. So whatever you see in the bottom left corner on this controller overlay, you can kind of repeat it yourself on whatever platform you guys play on, and that will help you guys do the tricks. So my left stick is my left foot, my right stick is my right foot, and that is basically how I control my flip tricks. So it's very important to note that you have independent foot control over both of your feet at all times, both on the ground and in the air, and on grinds as well. So keep that in mind for these trick tip tutorials. So if I were to ollie, I basically press down on my red foot or the back foot, and then you just let go. You can also press both sticks down, and that gives you a high pop. The controllers never switch no matter what position you're in. So if you want to do a fakie ollie, you do the same position as you would for a regular ollie. And that also means that an ollie is the same as switch. So you press forward to the front of your board, and when you're switch, you're going backwards, so you still press forward, but you're moving backwards, so it looks backwards. With this game, you don't really turn with the front stick. Although you can move and turn your guy with the front left stick, you kind of want to have that thumb available at all times for tricks. So in Skater XL, you turn with the triggers. That is the best way to turn in this game because it leaves your thumbs open to do more tricks and manuals and catch the board and all these things. So you turn with the triggers, and I basically think of this as leaning. So it's not really turning left and turning right, it's leaning left and leaning right. You're just tilting the board sideways. If you start using your sticks and turn them inwards and outwards from each other parallel, you'll realize you can start doing power slides. So we're going to turn our sticks all the way inwards, pointing towards each other. That would be a backside power slide. And now we'll turn our sticks outward from each other 90 degrees. And that is a frontside power slide. You can also do those same movements in the air too. So if I pop an ollie and turn my sticks inward and turn my sticks outward, I can maneuver my feet and my board to, turn sideways. And that's really, really useful, especially for grinds. And we'll get into grinds soon. So you now know that the triggers will turn your entire body. The sticks will manipulate your lower body, and you can actually combine the triggers and the sticks together to get some really, really interesting stuff to happen. If I combine my trigger with my stick movement, doing that same parallel movement, I could get a 180 to happen really quickly. So if I ollie, press the trigger, and make my sticks go inward, it makes it a different animation as well. So it helps me with the rotation a little bit. So there's so many different ways to do tricks in this game, and no way is right and wrong. Certain situations require different ways to do tricks, and depending on what kind of trick you're doing, what kind of location you're at, if you're flipping in or flipping out, if you're doing a backside or front side, each kind of trick and spot you do will require different ways to perform these tricks. You want to really start thinking of your triggers as your shoulders and your sticks as your feet. So you can turn your sticks and your triggers in the same direction as each other to make your spins even faster. If I press both of my sticks down and hold the trigger, his arms will start winding up. And that is very useful for when I let go of the sticks. It'll let me do a really, really fast spin. You can also just, try to really huck it and spin the sticks in the air. So I did the power slide method in the air to get that extra rotation. So I can, go down 2 sticks, wind up, I press forward, and then I turn my sticks inward. And I also find too, if you go up and down, it adds a lot of style to the actual trick itself. It'll make your board look a lot cooler. You can really manipulate the tail and nose much better that way. You can also hold down too. You don't have to press forward. You can actually hold down the entire time, and that will give you the kind of a rocket nose looking thing. You can also do it in ollie and hold your nose down and do it a weird way like that. So there's different styles to it depending on your situation. Maybe you're trying to land into a nose manual and you need to have that nose up. Maybe you're trying to land into a manual and you need like that tail down. So we'll do one stick, and this one I'll just do it like this. This is a really cool 180 that I do a lot, kind of like what we just did, but a little bit more basic. So it's one stick down, I press forward on the other stick, and then I wrap it around as well as hold the trigger. So for a switch one, I would press forward, and then I press down onto the red stick, and I would hold the right triggers. You'll notice like when I go fakey and if I press my nose down and do a 180, it makes it look really nice with a lot of style. And you can do like stuff like that. All right, so the next part of this trick tip is really, really important, and this is a component in Skater XL that a lot of people just don't know about, and this will help you get a lot of style in this game and make your tricks look really, really unique, really stylish, and with low pop as well too. So now we're gonna do the exact same technique as the high pop 360s, but we're gonna do it with a low pop. So it's one added component to this trick right here. So it's the same thing, both sticks down, hold the trigger, and if you let go of the front foot just before you pop, that's a low pop 360. But that's not only good for 360s, that's good for all of your tricks. Every single one of your tricks in the game. So this is how you get the smooth animations in this game. Both the sticks down, let go of the front foot, and watch his arms. When his arms get back to his side, do the kickflip. So I could just like, you know, straight up just do a kickflip and hold my left trigger and do a 180 and, you know, it's all good and done. But if you really want that style and that really cool looking technique, both the triggers down, wind up, let it go. That is how you get those animations. It's the same kind of thing. It's the same trick. It's just you're adding more components to it to make it look nicer, and it's all done manually. You could do a high pop too if you don't let go. But I think it looks really, really nice if you kind of let go of that front foot, let your arms kind of go to your side, and that makes it look more natural. And that applies to every single trick you can do in this game. So say for like a nollie big heel, I can like put my sticks up, wind up, let go, and there's like a nollie big heel. You can use your shoulders and your sticks in the opposite direction of each other as well. And if you do that, you can do some really, really cool stuff. It's really complicated, but it's very useful. If I actually do this and turn my sticks towards the left side while holding my trigger towards the right side, it'll kind of be like nothing really happened. Like they counter each other, really, right? They kind of counteract each other's movements. The trigger goes to the right, my sticks go to the left, and nothing really happens there. But if I really time it so that I let go or spin my sticks before I hit the ground, watch this. You can build up torque, basically. So in the air there, I was building up torque. Let me go into my replay here. So you have to kind of really watch slowly to see what I was doing here. So when I ollied up, I was turning my triggers, which made my shoulders turn backside. So you can see my shoulders are slowly turning backside throughout the entire trick here. I'm slowly turning backside, but my sticks, aka my feet, are turning towards the left. So my upper body and my lower body are turning the opposite direction of each other. And right at this very moment right here is when I had the maximum torque. I whipped my sticks around in a circle, which gave me that whip. And I could land a 180. So now you kind of know how to control your lower body and upper body, and that's the basic flat ground stuff. So you're kind of done on the flat ground. You know how to do that. Now we're gonna take it to some actual ledges and rails and stuff. How would I backtail this? There's different ways to do it. You guys know that I could turn with my trigger. I can also turn with my sticks. So what is the correct way to do a back tail on this ledge? Well, the answer is it depends. And it depends on what way you prefer. Depends on what trick that you're performing. It depends on how you're exiting the trick as well too. I think with this question, the most important thing to know is how are you exiting the trick? Are you exiting fakie or are you exiting front side? A spin out of it or a flip out of it? All these things matter when deciding what kind of style or what kind of way you're going to perform these tricks. So this is the most basic way to do any grind in this game, is to basically go up, turn with the trigger, and then press down. And then you exit. That applies to every grind, by the way. So turn with the left stick, press downwards. That's a one slide. Turn with the trigger 90 degrees and press straight forward. That's a no slide. I can just ollie up and press kind of crooked towards the top left. That's a crooked grind. You can also pop out. So by default, I pop out on the same side that I came in on. You can press the stick down, so my right stick, and that will make me kind of fall or bump out. You can also bump out on the far side too, which is kind of useful. So if I do a blunt slide here and press the left bumper or left stick down, I bumped out towards the left side or over the rail or over the ledge. You can't bump forward, unfortunately, without mods, so you can only bump left and bump right, but you can pop forward. If I was actually in the grind and press the left trigger while I'm grinding and let go, I'll pop over the rail or over the ledge. If I press both the triggers at the same time while I'm grinding, I can pop right forward and then bump it out or whatever. So that's very useful for a lot of tricks. I can go to like a tail slide, both my triggers, shove it, land it in something else, and then go out of it. You actually notice too, when you're in the grind, you can kind of tell too. If I press the left trigger, the camera changes a little bit. If I press the right trigger now, the camera will change back, and I'll pop back out onto the right side. The last input that you pressed will be the side that you popped out on. You can press left, right, middle, every one that you want during the trick. The last one that you press will be the one that you pop out on. So there's 3 ways to exit a grind here. So you can tail slide and pop out, you can tail slide and bump out, and you can also tail slide and just kind of roll off the end of stuff too. So you don't have to pop or bump, you can just kind of let it flow to the very end. Stick to the side, press forward and bump. And that's kind of a quick and easy tail slide to regular. But how would I do that to fakie though? Since he moves to regular by default, how would I go to fakie? That is where the other method comes into play, where I would turn my trigger, press down, and that would make it land fakie easier because all I have to do is turn 90 degrees. So you guys know how to torque, right, on a flat ground. And now we're going to torque in grinds. And this will make your grinds really, really interesting. How about we try this? I'll put my sticks towards the right side like this, or towards the middle, so I can back tail with the sticks. While I'm doing a back tail, I'm going to counter that direction with the left trigger. So I'm going to turn towards the left at the same time as grinding. Try it with no pop right here. That's not bad. So here's a nose grind by pressing forward. If I press my sticks inward, I'll start turning towards a crooked grind, right? Like this. But if I hold the left trigger while I'm doing this movement with the sticks, I can counter it and kind of, it's hard to balance when I'm going this slow, but I can make it like a nose grind. This position right here on my controller is how I'm landing in the nose grind. I'm landing like that with my sticks sideways and my trigger fully pressed. So when I exit the grind, he whips out of it like this. I also press the right bumper, so when I do that, I bump over to the far side of the ledge. That applies to every grind like this, like 5-0s, outwards and inwards. You can do crooked grinds, frontside crooks, out to fakie like that. So this is a front tail. Turn my sticks to get into it, hold the trigger, and then I pop out of it to whip it that direction. If I want to spin a 270 out of this the opposite direction, I would have to enter the tail slide in a different way. So I'm gonna have to turn with mostly my trigger and press down, and then when I'm in the grind pressing downwards, I can torque it up the opposite direction of the other grind. So I'm in tail slide pressing down, I'll press my sticks inwards like this and counter it with the left trigger, and that will get me the torque I need to spin out of it like this. And it takes some practice because when you're torquing, it'll make your guy turn funky. So you want to learn how to do it quick to avoid all the funky movements and stuff and do it nice and natural. It's pretty tough. That's it's kind of cool. I don't know. And it gets even crazier, guys. Like, you know, add the flip tricks to it now. So like a kick flip, land in a torqued grind and whip out of it. Or you can even like pop shove it, rewind, like the really steezy ways like this. Little nollie nose blunt. So this next tip I actually missed in my first advanced trick tip tutorial. This one is extremely useful for a lot of style. If you do a medium pop with your flip, you'll get a super fluid motion that'll make it all look very just proper. Inward heel flip. Wind it up to the left side because I want to land in a tail slide like this, right? I want to pop and land like this, right? Practice this. Practice landing sideways. If I did this pop with the inward heel flip, he would land sideways. That's what I need for the tail slide. It's a bit tough. Pop, flip, scoop, and that's okay. Let's do another one. That's a pretty good one right there. All right, so let's try inward heel, tail slide with the wind up. And a little bump out. So you can see how much more natural that was. So I was winding up there. I let go of the front foot. Inward heel flip, my body is already turning. I catch it 90 degrees sideways, and I land perfectly perpendicular with the ledge, and then just kind of bump it out forward there. That applies to like every grind. Like, how about this as well? Hard flip, no slide. So how about this? We'll try to enter with the medium pop spinning method and exit with a torque. So a hard flip, front nose slide with a torque 270 out of it. I was pressing the trigger to open my shoulders up while holding my sticks in the opposite direction. My feet were turning the opposite direction. And then when I exited, I had this kind of big wind up. I didn't really get it that nice though in this one. I kind of reverted it out, but it still worked though. Kind of a weird trick, but that's 2 different hard advanced things put into one. Now we're gonna go over manual reverts, and this is probably one of the hardest things in the game. Not because it's that hard, just because it's really touchy. It requires a lot of precision. Basically just a manual like this, and you would spin around and do another manual. So this trick right here is a combination of a manual and a power slide. So it's both pressing forward or back, depending on what kind of manual you're doing, and doing a power slide at the same time. Power slide is, you know, outwards or inwards. A manual is up or down. Therefore, a manual revert is diagonal. That's it. That's the answer. You notice how when you're doing a manual, you don't press all the way forward on the stick. So you want to maintain a manual with both the sticks. Don't press the plastic on your controller though, that's too far. But you want to essentially turn your sticks inward. While you're holding your sticks like this, you also press the trigger and that will allow you to spin. But we'll add that in a second here because you could do the power slide without even spinning. So I could do this. And that is how you slide on the wheels. You want to learn how to slide on your wheels without touching your nose or your back trucks or your front truck down on the ground. So how about this? Nose manual, power slide, hold the trigger. I can spin around like that. You know, do some cool stuff. That's pretty sick. That's the kind of stuff that you learn over time. Like landing and that kind of stuff is insane. All right, so watch this right here. I can go up like this. We'll do a nose manual and then revert out of it, kind of. So I got a little 180 to that with no pop. Kind of cool. I don't know. So if you don't want to turn all the way and land in a manual, you can land in a nose manual and revert it, and that will essentially be your 180 instead. You know? So you can land in the power slide manual, you can exit the power slide manual, you can do it in the middle of the trick as well, like this. I'll try to do it. It's a little bit shorter. All right. There's one right in the middle of the trick there. This is what you have the ability to do in the air in Skater XL with your sticks. So at any given time, in any trick, you can move your feet and manipulate them to whatever position you want. So that looks like a good hard flip catch position, you know? Or I can do like a tray flip like this. I can do a kickflip like this, kind of, or kick my foot forward. All right, so we're gonna go over one more thing in this tutorial, and this applies to only modded settings, unfortunately. But this is for late flips, because people ask me about this all the time. So you need the XXL mod by Dog Vinci. You'll see right here, there's a late flip section. If you don't see that section in your XXL mod, not a big deal. Press Control F10, XXL mod right here. Go to the drop-down menu and make sure you turn on experimental options. That will enable late flips. Press F7, go to late flips, turn late flips on. You can also turn late flips out of grinds on as well too. I'll cover that in a second here. For late flips, you'll also want to have hippie ollies turned on as well too, just in case. So go to the miscellaneous tab, go to hippie ollies, turn those on as well. We're gonna need those for late flips. So if I want to do a pop shove it kick flip or late flip down this, I have to do a pop shove it, catch it, and then do a kick flip. Pop shove it, catch the board, pop a kick flip. And I did a varial flip because I scooped it as well. So I caught it, I scooped it a little bit as well, so it made the kickflip happen. All right, we'll try this one. This is a kickflip with a late shove it. And that was insane, dude. So you can do late shove it's and flips out of grinds too. So let's do one really quick right here. A little trick about this, you can't pop out of it and you can't bump out of it. You have to roll off the end of the ledge or rail to do these. So let's do like a crook shove it. So crooked grind, roll off the end of it. And right when I go off the end, we'll do a shove it. And it's all about timing. And I have to pop the shove it as well, too, by the way. There you go. Nose grind, shove it. You see how sick that is? It's so much better than popping out of it. You would probably pop out of it if you flipped out of a trick, so I wouldn't normally do it that method for flip tricks. But that's good for shove-its. So the next trick tip is just late flips by itself and just late shove-its with no trick into it. So the reason why I showed you guys how to do the trick into the shove-it or late flip first is because you have to do a trick before you do a late flip. The only way we can do this without doing a trick is to do a hippie ollie. So if you ollie and press B, your feet will leave the board. You also need to catch too. If you're a manual catch, you have to press B and catch the board, right? When you catch the board, that counts as a trick. So you can do a late flip then. So if I go over this rail right here, ollie, hippie ollie, catch it, late flip, that'll work. Ollie, hippie ollie, catch it, shove it. It's a lot of stuff to do in one trick, but that's how you do it. Ollie, hippie ollie, catch, late shove. You can also do that for late flips too. So let's try like a nollie late flip over this. Nollie, hippie ollie, catch it, late flip. I'm really happy that we did that first try. Anyways, guys, that's gonna wrap it up for today's tutorial. Hope that helped you guys out. If there's anything that I missed in this tutorial, let me know in the comments down below, because I'm gonna cover those for you guys as soon as possible. In my next video, I'll be showing you guys how to take your game from looking like this to this right here. Hopefully this helps. Peace.